forgot about that.
Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to a fantastic lineup. Let's just make sure everything is properly done over here. So we've got a nice show lined up for you with a lovely semi-final lined up. I'm just gonna have some audio problems over here. Just double checking if everything is okay. Okay, there we go. So back to the business, right? So we've got a beautiful matchup. IM Watu Kobese versus International Master David Gluckman, and the previous match was rough on Daniel. Henry Steele went through, and he will be awaiting now and watching who's going to qualify to meet him in the finals for tomorrow. The finals for tomorrow will be scheduled for 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. So get your day sorted out, and then the action will start in the evening. And let's get our co-commentator in as well. So our co-commentator, my special guest for today, is someone you saw in a previous match, all the way from Germany, originally from Port Elizabeth, Lance van Vogel. Welcome, Lance. All right, Lance, you must just speak up.
Hi, Calvin. I just got it now. Thanks for having me. It's nice to actually follow this match, especially what I saw today, and hopefully we'll be in for another entertaining evening.
All right, fantastic. So we're happy to have you alongside us now here again. So let's quickly look again at the player profiles. If you haven't checked it out in the previous matches, let's just quickly look at them. So Watu, 4-time SA Close champion, is known as the Lion of Africa and loves any chance to pounce and attack. Watu has played over 100 games at the Chess Olympiad for South Africa and has remained a vital component of the national team for many, many years. Let's quickly check David. And the first international master of South Africa, David Gluckman, who won the 1995 SA Closed, will be competing in this event with his son and so on, even though his son is already knocked out. So yeah, so a very nice match indeed. Lance, what do you think? What can we expect from this match?
Well, I think it's going to be a very attacking game. You look at both players. On the one hand, you have David, who's a fantastic attacking, very positional player, and then you have Watu Kobese, who's very tactical. So this will be, it sets the scene for a nice, exciting evening.
Okay, fantastic. So now let's get the players here. Let's get Watu and David in. So Watu, you can also unmute your mic and so on. David, are you guys ready? Okay, so welcome David and Watu. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having us.
All right, fantastic. So let's start with David. David, how do you feel about the match?
Well, we'll see. I know I'm the underdog, but Watu and I know each other well. We've played each other over 30 years, so it could be interesting. I think my tactics have to be a bit different from the other night. I think the other night I could try to simplify and probably bring more games to the end game, but Watu won't allow me to do that, and he's strong in the game, so I know I'm going to have to kind of mix it up and see what happens.
Yeah, okay, so interesting. I like the fact that you recognize you're the underdog, but I mean, lots of times the underdog comes through. So I think it's bound to be a very interesting match. And just like you said, it all depends on the I would say the flow of the match. You've got your own type of style, and Watu's got his style. So I think it's important who enforces his style into the game. So yeah, thanks David for the couple of words. Watu Kobese, how are you doing, and how are you feeling about the match?
Yeah, well, it will be an interesting match for sure. But look, in chess, the first priority is to play well yourself. As we all know, it does not really matter who you play. If you play badly, you're in trouble. So yes. I hope to be able to play well to I like playing with ideas and injecting life into the position. Not necessarily tactics, but ideas, even if it's a drag position. But play it with ideas and enjoy my chess. So I'm hoping to play, to find it interesting, to find ideas. Then it will be a lot of fun, of course.
Yes, and we've been loving your ideas, Watu, for the tournament thus far. So it's bound to be an interesting match. David is giving a solid performance in his previous match to go through and beat Michael James. Watu also the first player in the tournament to get a full score in his match, so very dominating. So let's switch over to the arena. And Watu and David, you can exit our Zoom session. And now I will just give you a WhatsApp call. David, I'm calling you first.
Hello?
Oh, hi David. So now let me just add Watu. All right, so we're calling up Watu. Okay, fantastic. Okay, did I lose David now in the meantime? It seems like I lost David. Just hang 10, Watu. I think we lost David. Maybe attempted to mute or something. Okay, David. No problem. Okay, guys, so we're starting off with a 10-10 game. It seems like David is playing with the white pieces. Are both of you ready?
No, so must I put the sound off? Yeah.
Yes, as soon as you're ready, you can put the sound off.
Hang on.
Okay, we lost David there again. Watu, I think he's pressing the wrong button. Okay, so let's just get David on the line again. Okay. Yeah, you can mute the mic. Watu, David, you can also mute your mic. Okay, fantastic. If your mic, are you sure your mic? You can. I can still. I can.
Zoom is currently recording audio, so I don't know what.
You can end. You can end the Zoom call, David. I'll just.
Have to start my phone again.
Okay, I'll get you out of Zoom. There we go. Okay, I'll get Lance back soon. David is kicked out again. Watu. Let me just get David on WhatsApp. So I'm calling David up again. Can you maybe ask Paul to help you over there? I'm just sorting out Lance here as well so we can get him back into the screen. Okay, are you guys ready? Seems like you guys are ready, right? I'm also ready on this side, so whenever you're ready, you can start your game. Good luck. Okay, and I think we've got Lance back in our square as well. Right, here we go. So David is playing with the white pieces. Lee, Paul, Amy, that's David's beloved family members over there. So that's his handle name. And then Watu's playing with Mapungu Bue. That's his handle name. And David has started off with a reti with knight f3 and c4. Watu deciding to play d5 and pawn to e6. Sorry,
so it looks like
What do you think,
We might
Lance?
be going in. I think maybe we might go into maybe a Catalan. Maybe. What do you think? Or maybe if it's still early. Maybe a Queen's Gambit.
I'm not sure what David is gonna go for here.
Yeah,
Samaretti, yes, Samaretti.
yeah, some
So he
action
will
on
he
that
will go
side.
bishop b2 and probably g3 and bishop g2. I think I recall him playing these type of lines at some SA closed a couple of years ago. I'm not sure what he has been playing. He hasn't been playing too much of recent, but there's one SA close. I think he actually got the last time he got into the SA team as a wonderful performance by David, and he used these type of lines. And it's not too theoretical. It's more about setting up your pieces in the right places and putting the pawns in the right squares. So it can be a very strong weapon if your opponent doesn't understand the setups and so on. It's not about theory, like I said, but Watu, of course, season campaigner, and
Yeah,
surely
well,
he has a
yeah, as you
setup.
said,
Surely he has a
yeah, you're
setup
right,
against
Calvin.
that.
Yeah, it's very solid. I mean, it's nice to put your bishops on the long diagonals and just getting nice freedom for your bishops. I mean, it's yeah, reducing the risk and just getting a lot of development out quickly.
Okay, so Watu is basically inviting David to go into some. Watu is used to playing this Tarash defense. So if David plays pawn takes pawn, I got a feeling Watu will play pawn takes pawn, and then David can play d4, getting into some Tarash variation.
Hmm.
White playing more restrained here
E3.
with e3. Milky Shake says Lance is back. Looking forward to the games and also the commentary. Thank you, Milky Shake. So yeah, usually White would plan to take on d5 and then play d4. Typical stuff, very popular. That's what David is playing. A lot of people play this for White, and Watu decides to push on, and now it becomes like a reversed Benoni, and White does have some extra tempi. But the question is the bishop any handy on b2? The bishop, I've seen in these positions the bishop going to a3, just swapping off with that guy on e7. But I mean, if you compare it to the normal Benoni that black plays, I mean, black in that position, white has e4 in, black can't get e5 in so easily. So yeah.
Calvin, what do you think? I mean, White is maybe trying to. White needs to also get the knight out somehow in this position. I mean,
Black,
very.
I don't know. Usually black gets in e5, but now for some reason black can't get in e5. I was thinking knight d7, but the d4 pawn will be hanging. Knight e8, and then the idea f6 and e5. I think that's what Watu is going for.
Interesting idea.
Somehow
Reshuffling pieces.
black needs to organize the pawn on e5 so that this d4 square is solid, so that the bishop looks silly over there. So yeah. But black also underdeveloping like that. So in the near future or at some point he also wants to develop the bishop. I guess that's going to happen with e5 as well.
It's very typical that with a knight going to e5 in like your normal Catalan positions.
Yeah, opening up the g2 bishop as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful bishop at g2.
Is rook b5 a move? Not really. I think that would be pushing for too much. A rook e1 back, and here we have it, d3. So white is playing like a very comfortable Benoni, I think. Not much pressure on white, but white, in the long run, the problem is white also has less space. That's the main issue. White has a comfortable position, but he has the space of the player playing with the black pieces usually. So, yeah. The bishop, I still believe that the bishop will go to a3 probably, and the knight will maneuver to a3 and d2, or maybe d2 straight away. But white, this majority over here, would like to push on. There we go. There bishop a3 comes.
It's not a bad move. I mean, the bishop is not really doing much. You might as well get rid of your bishop. It's not doing much.
Of course.
And it's so amazing, Calvin. In this matchup, you have one player so tactically. It's like he's a very tactical player, Watu, and then on the other hand, you have David playing these strong positional games. it makes it a very exciting match to watch.
Yeah, okay. Both sides have their preferred styles, but make no mistake, both these players are strong
Yeah,
players,
of course,
and Watu
of course.
I've seen Watu also display a lot of positional power in many games. So of course, well, they prefer a certain style, and of course, David can also not, be he's no slouch with tactics, but you tend to go into the stuff that you prefer, and you look out for the stuff that you prefer. So interesting battle. I would say game one, everything is in the balance. I like what I'm seeing. And just for all the viewers out there, this is the first game of two rapids. It's a uh, it's a 10-10 game, 10 minutes straight, with the rapids weighing a bit more. For each one in the rapids, it will count as 2 points. So as we've seen in the previous match and in other matches, this section is actually very important because because if you win the Rapids 2-0, then you're already 4 points up, and it's very difficult to come back from that. So I think this section, the players really need to get into it very quickly in order to establish some footing into the match.
Calvin, is it safe to be for White to play that move? I mean, the pawn is
F4
hanging
on
on
D3.
D3.
So White is applying pressure on the E5 pawn. That makes sense, but now D3 is hanging. So bishop takes
Yeah,
D3. Bishop takes D3. What's going to happen? There's some
I
attack
mean
from the queen on the
the
bishop. So
that White must move.
bishop takes D3, pawn takes pawn takes pawn, and knight F3. And that will reveal an attack on the bishop, and E5 will also be hanging. So if the bishop moves, then we grab on E5. Maybe black has E4.
Yeah. Of
Maybe
course.
black has E4, but then simply queen takes D3 could be a move. Queen takes D3, taking the bishop and exposing the pawn, the rook, and eventually take the queen. So there's a lot of complications. It's David is.
So early.
It seems like David is um, inviting some complications over here, and I like the fact that he's doing that. He's putting out the challenge to Watu here to decide is he gonna go in for complications or so. That's I guess that's why Watu is also taking some time here to decide what to do. What's the options? If you capture, we could go into mass complications. If you don't capture, what do you do? There's so much pressure on the pawn. White is probably gonna go knight f3 anyway, or knight e4. So he's got a good position for his or good squares for his pieces. So I like what David is doing here. Is really applying pressure, and that's what they need to do against these tough players. I mean, Watu had a 10-0 victory. And Watu doesn't capture the pawn,
Wow, that's interesting.
so he realizes there's some complications. So now after pawn takes pawn, maybe even bishop e4, or maybe it's just knight e4. Okay, both squares are good. I would like to, yeah, knight e4 makes complete sense. So now that's a beautiful square for David. I really like White's position. I really like White's position. He's probably gonna have to capture. Okay, maybe not. It's not a must, but he's gonna have to move his queen there. So David's got a beautiful square, and he's got this 3 versus 2.
Maybe David will play the queen, bring the queen over to e2, and maybe just try to get the rooks on e and f.
Queen d2.
Possible.
Maybe he's trying to cover the dark squares here with the queen. And yes, you're right. Perhaps rook e2 and rook f1 is a possibility. Or he can start thinking about playing b4 and a4 and utilize his extra pawns on the queen side. Watu immediately looking at that and trying to curb White's ideas on the queen side, by the way. He needs to come up with some play. And it doesn't look like Watu's going to get kingside play that easy with this huge hole on e4. So,
And he's moving to the queen side now, eh? What to do? Do you defend the pawn or carry on? I think maybe It's either rook a8, rook b8, or a6, queen
Queen
b6.
b6.
Hmm.
So Watu on the defensive here. I think Watu is in a worse position. David has got a nice position.
Oh,
Okay, so Milky Shake asks, who has played in more Olympiads, Watu or David? Phew. I don't know my history that well. Like the player profile says, Watu has played more than 100 games at the Olympiad. But on the other hand, I know David has also played in a few. But probably if I had to bet money, I would say Watu because I got a feeling Watu has played in a lot more. But David, I think, has represented the country, if I'm not wrong, on board one. So both of these players are board one players for South Africa. And yeah, legends in their own right in the South African history books for chess. So yeah, that's a good question. I think we'd have to get our historians in on the matter to double check the stats.
what to do here? If you take with a B, open up the file, and taking there now gives you that weak pawn on d3.
So the
And also
C3,
a nice
the C3 square
on
is also creaking, yes.
e3. It's very weak, yes, the c3 square.
But the knight is covering it.
That pawn is it's always been going to be a weakness on e5, but is that enough?
It's a problem for black.
That's interesting. Maybe bishop e4, maybe.
Yeah, just continue checking there, Lance. I'm just sorting something small out here.
Maybe Watu might try to get the bishop to g6, but Watu just needs to watch out on the back rank. But the king needs to also come to the party here. While it does check. Maybe now bishop e4, maybe. Should be a possibility now, just to at least cover the pawn. Bishop f1 would not look good.
Okay, so what's happening over here? Okay, bishop e4 now. What is going to get a connected pawn? But okay, the rook as well for white seems active. If the pawn marches, the white king is already ready to come and block it.
I especially like the rook. I mean, the rook should somehow stay there on the c file for now. But I mean, Watu can somehow just find a way to exchange the pawn, the flank pawn, and maybe create some counterplay there.
Yeah, I think David had to stop a4 over there. a4 was going to be a nice move. So this a5 pawn of black can be a bit of a weakness long term if you can't exchange it off. So white can now play king f2, maybe king e2, and eventually king b3. Try and block this pass pawn properly, and then we can start looking at actually utilizing this 2 versus 1 on that side. Black on the other hand, I'm not sure what black should do. It seems like black could try something on this side.
Oh, Normally, in
Ooh.
these types of end games, you have to be very
Ooh.
sure of your story playing moves like that. But in this
Okay,
position, of
so
course, you can't capture.
obviously, yes, you can't capture because the pawn will land on b4 and the one pawn will
And
wedge
then
the two.
Watu, I think, has achieved what he wanted to do. I mean, that
Excellent.
was the whole plan for Watu,
Excellent
just to
play.
exchange off that pawn, and
I think maybe White should have checked first and
not
played the rook
bad.
around. Maybe White should have checked first and played the rook around.
Okay, will we have a draw here? It looks like it.
And we have some
Yeah,
repetition. White
draw
says,
on this
okay,
side.
you'll pick up a pawn if it doesn't repeat. So, okay, very interesting. Good start there for both sides. David doing great there.
But what do you think, Calvin? I think White had maybe a slight edge, maybe in the opening or so. Maybe I don't know. What do you think? It's
No,
just this,
definitely, no,
not much, just a
definitely.
little bit.
Definitely White was better there, was comfortable, he had some pressure. So I missed a bit of the actual game, but it seems like White missed something. We lost Lance there for a moment. We're gonna get him back soon. So we have a French defense on the board. Again, one of David's favorites. And it reminds me of the match against James. So let's see if Watu has something in store here. Typical stuff, bishop e3 and queen d2. Okay, let's see what's happening over here. French defense. Knight on f2, knight on f2. So what did we have here? Knight d1 and knight f2. Okay, so it seems like something very nice for White here in the long run with this bishop being better than the bishop on c8. Black always has this b4, a5, bishop a6 idea in mind. And the knight on f2 can probably go to d3 comfortably or g4, depending on the situation. Knight b6, maybe just bishop d7, and perhaps rook c8. It seems okay. It doesn't look too bad for black. White, of course, wants to get his rook into the game as well. Maybe, let's see, bishop e2. And so, I don't know. Yeah, I was going to say now, sometimes White can just play on the king side. Maybe that rook on h1 is decent. Maybe h6. Otherwise, if you allow h6 itself, then you'll have dark square weaknesses all over. So black is pretty much forced to go h6. Rook to h3, very flexible move. I mean, you can go rook g3, you can go rook c3. That might be even more enticing over there. Sometimes you can play a move like a4 and get the rook on these squares knocking down here. Okay, pawn to g4. Watu is getting it on here. Perhaps g5. So he's attacking even though there's no queens on the board. White still is on the hunt. Pawn to f6. Black has to react somehow. He can't just sit back and wait. So f6 looks quite decent. Because, I mean, he's got this threat to open up his own rook. If pawn takes pawn, probably rook takes. Pawn takes could be a possibility even. Pawn takes pawn, and black will be blocking g5 somewhat. e5 could become a possibility because after pawn takes pawn and rook takes, I'm not sure if that's quite nice for black. How about pawn takes, and then the knight's hanging. So perhaps rook takes is also possible with a possible doubling up on the f file. The f6 is a typical French move, but a powerful move indeed. Okay, so Watu goes rook to e3, just holding the e5 square. So if takes, then rook takes, and then e6 is a small problem. So both sides wanting the other to capture so that they can get their pieces aligned properly. Typical thing in chess, especially for the youngsters and the inexperienced players. Sometimes if you don't know what to do, you just want to capture. But sometimes you need to allow your opponent to capture in order for you to capture back and introduce your piece into a better position. So knight c4 played, bishop takes, d takes, and this bishop is beginning to get life. So rook d7 is possible, and the bishop will lock down the situation, no pun intended. Okay, so b3, pawn takes pawn. Time-wise, both players look decent. David actually a bit ahead on the clock here. David actually used his time quite well in his match. He was quite efficient in his match against Michael James. So Watu getting a bit more stern competition over here. It seems like in the first game David was doing decent, even slightly better. And now Watu having to grind it out here. Bishop d5, maybe bishop d5. So David taking his time over here. King b2. I guess he needs to make sure that I'm actually not sure. Okay, so I thought bishop d5, but maybe I'm missing something. Rook c7 covers the seventh rank. Also very logical. I guess white also has this idea of going knight d3 and knight b4 eventually. That would knock the bishop on d5 and the pawn d6. I could have maybe thought about a5 then, but okay, so pawn takes, rook takes, pressure on f4, but this is a weakened pawn over there. So now let's see. I mean, this knight is running to e5. Could even get to g6 and cause some issues here around the king. Yeah, this bishop is turning out not to be so effective. And even you can see with the bishop landing there, moves like f5 is possible because the pawn won't be able to capture, because the bishop will be hanging. Pawn to a5, maybe stopping knight b4, but not stopping knight e5. Maybe black has in mind a b4 move here as well, but black looks slightly awkward here with this e6 pawn and some holes, dark square problems, especially this e5 square. At e5 expected. So okay, so the rook has been blocked a bit from taking there, so black takes the opportunity to maybe rejoin his rook with the other one. Black needs to find counterplay. White is looking good on this side. Weakness, perhaps jump in there. Okay, so Watu playing cautiously here. Rook E2, maybe overprotecting C2. Not sure why he went. Okay, so he's overprotecting, so that was coming in any event. And of course, white now wants to play check and swap off a pair of rooks at least to relieve the pressure. Because with one rook on the board, black won't be able to do too much. Okay, and there we have Lance back. It took a while for him to figure things out, but he's back. So things are looking interesting. And no problem at all, Lance. Welcome back. And white is applying a lot of pressure over here. So black can't capture. Black's bad bishop came out, but he had to sacrifice the structure with this f6 move, trying to stop the kingside attack. And yeah, white actually wanted to swap off rooks to alleviate the pressure on c2, but the bishop on d5 David used to block things, and now f5 is quite a nice move. What should black do?
Oh, it looks again. This game is this match is looks to me very even so far. I have to say, so far of the other matches we have seen.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know what is the score between the two players in the last few years they've played. I mean, taking online play into account, it is very different, of course, than normal play.
Okay, so the knight looks very strong on g6.
White is looking for hopefully future nice mating net there on h8. So nice when you see your knight on that square.
Okay, so I see Yaskera's name said it seems like a lot of GMs hate the French, at least the streamers. What's your opinion on the opening? I like the French. It gives some fighting chances, but it does in general give you less space. So that's why a lot of streamers, I even heard Nakamura saying that French is a bit dodgy, even though he plays it. I remember one game where Nakamura was playing online and he played the French, but then the moment he was busy losing, he said, "Ah, shoot, but I shouldn't have played the French. Why did I play the French? You should have just kept it solid." So the French gets a bit of stick now and again, but you have some famous players playing the French. I don't think it has the best reputation as the most solid, but it is definitely doable. Yeah. Kagelo is asking, what about rook d8 instead of knight e5? Let's see over here. Instead of knight e5, rook d8 looks interesting, yeah. And then knight e5, probably a good way to go, Kagelo. But right now, let's get back to the live game. And the white pieces definitely look handsome. The two rooks and the knight. The knight's particularly having a great conversation with the enemy king over there. The king decides he's had enough of the chat. He bounces back, and the bishop on d5 still standing firm there with the pawn that's being threatened. So looks like this combination is holding everything closed at the moment. So David, I think David is also a very powerful defender. It takes a lot to beat him, but let's see.
Well, like White's position looks very, very good, I have to say. I mean, how do you feel? We're gonna have some exchanges here, maybe.
Bishop f7. I think
really
maybe black wouldn't mind relieving the pressure, even though perhaps the white king would have got in closer or faster. Check king g8.
I don't think black has time to play a move like a bishop f7 when the rook was on the e file.
So rook e5 finally being played. KG being satisfied there by the rook e5 move. Takes. So Watu has picked up a pawn. and it's gonna take some. White is probably winning, but let's see if Watu can finish it off, or is he gonna have to use some technical prowess to actually convert this. Look dangerous. Okay, B3 could be after exchanging could be an issue, but White can play B4. I can play B4.
Rook. Nice. Oh, wow. That's a nice move, that. Easily countered, though.
What's going on? That's a blunder. Okay, it was out
rook.
of time there. Okay, so now that was the 2 rapid games. Okay, guys, tough battle. That was the 2 rapid games, correct? Okay, so now we can have our official break. So 5 minutes. So the first game ending in a draw, and then the second one, Watu manages to get the point over there. But it's a tough affair. So does anyone have any comments on the first 2 games thus far? Anything at all?
Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, in the first game, somehow I don't know. It's like it's just something went completely wrong. I missed F4, and
F4 was a nice move, yeah.
I was completely lost. I think David missed a wing like instead of rook c7, you should have. I made a mouse if I played rook c7. I meant to play rook c6.
Yes.
Yeah, rook c6 just
yes.
Much better.
Yes, definitely. So yeah. But,
yeah, that was basically a very difficult position for me. And okay, the second game it was more or less the same thing. I had a small advantage, but okay, I think this time I managed to keep pressing to the end. Yeah.
Yes, with your spatial advantage there on the king side and so on. But yeah, I think you did excellent in the first game not to lose over there. Which kind of gave you a push at the end of the day. And David, what's your thoughts on the 2 games thus far?
It could have gone either way, to be honest. It's difficult to say anything.
Yes, I fully agree with you there. I think. Yeah, and I must just say that you now the first guy to get something off Watu thus far in the event. So well done. And so you guys can take your 5-minute break, and we can. If you guys are fine with it, we can just leave the call, or if you want to end the call, I'll phone you back in 5. I think I can phone you back in 5.
Better if you call, then we know that it's time.
Yeah. You know? Okay, I'll phone you back in 5. Cheers. Okay. Okay, right, everybody. So I think let's just get to the scoreboard. So looking at the scoreboard, IM Watu Kobese is on 3 points after managing to draw the first game after having been in trouble there. So he gets a point for that draw, and then the second game he manages to clinch the victory with a nice attack without the queens on the board and eventual pressure mounting to black, dropping some pawns, and time pressure eventually making him blunder a piece. So David, maybe you will feel a bit unlucky with the score at hand, 3-1 to Watu. It could have been easily 2-2, but so Watu pulls off a nice lead of 2 points thus far. Coming back to the, let's just see over here. Lance, what is your thoughts on the matter, by the way?
Yeah, so far I can see this match is for me it's evenly matched. I think they were just a bit unlucky in the first one, And also in the second one as well, I mean, time also is an issue in this format of the game. And I think it's going to be crucial in the next game actually to see what he can do actually with playing with the white pieces.
Oh, okay, right.
So this match is far from over. I think it is very close. I think anything can happen. And again, this game, the second one now, again decided with the end game. So we'll see.
Yeah, so actually Watu playing some good end games actually. If you think about it, the first game he managed to apply the pressure, not apply the pressure, but eventually apply, yes, with that rook b4 and then a5 and a4 maneuver. I mean, it took some skill to keep David busy, being in a good position that he was. And then the second game, Watu also using some end game skills over there, eventually pushing his kingside pawns, applying the pressure and coming through eventually. So not the way that you would expect Watu to get his victories, but the victories are victories. So he gets a nice pull, and I think we can maybe even take a small 3-minute break from the spectators' point of view. So we will be right back in a few minutes as soon as the players are ready. So Lance, you can also
Yes.
you can also mute your Zoom, and then we'll be back in a couple. See you guys just now.
Okay. I will do that. Are you ready? Okay.
Okay, guys, so we're back. Everybody had to take a quick breather. So now the rapid portion is done. And like we said, Watu has got a lead of 3 points to 1 against David. And now it's time for the 5 minutes and 1 second increment. So, yeah, without further ado, the players, you can start whenever you're ready. So I think it's time for us to flip the board. We'll take a look at it from Watu's point of view. I'm going to mute my mic now. And here we go. Lance, are you also with us right there?
Yeah, it looks good. Are we having a French?
Another French defense. Another French defense. I think we have the same colors for this part again, but of course each player is going to have the same amount of games with white and with black, so it doesn't really matter what color they start this portion with. But yes, Watu playing with the white pieces. David deciding to take on e4 this time. I think they call this the burn variation in the French.
It's. I mean, I think it's a matter of taste. I mean, if you like these kind of positions.
Yes, I actually know of one game that Watu played at the World Olympiad. I was not part of that team, but he played a game against the famous Nigel Short, and Nigel was playing this variation for black. And yeah, I think Nigel played quite a nice game there to outplay Watu. But that's definitely then something. This is definitely a line that Watu will be familiar with, as strange as it may look. So A6 probably aiming at B5 and bishop B7 perhaps. one move that white does have in store is d5. d5 could be dangerous at the right moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing with this, especially in this line, the main problem for black is always the light squared bishop. Having to get the bishop out as soon as possible. So Calvin, do you think this a bit normal for you? Queen d3 maybe? White just looking at long castling here?
Oh yeah, definitely. White, of course, typical Watu, and there's many lines where white long castles. I think it's a matter of taste between queen d3 and queen d2. I mean, white is probably a bit sensitive on the dark squares, having given up his dark squared bishop. So he needs to be careful. I mean, if the queen was standing on d2 and you long castle, then you can already see sometimes bishop g5 being an issue to watch out for. So the queen is definitely not bad on d3. So black continues with b5 and bishop b7 probably in the air.
And maybe then getting the bishop at the knight into d7, maybe?
Yes, knight d7, maybe knight b6. The square is good. If black has all the time in the world, I will choose black, no doubt. But
Yeah,
white on
but
the other
white
hand,
is,
white on the other hand, he's got some dynamic ideas, especially linked with d5. White could possibly play g3 and bishop g2 as well. Maybe knight e5 is also a possibility. And the rook
the
wants to
bishop
land
is
the e1.
ideally placed on f6. They're nicely placed on f6, and other bishop e7 and knight e7. Black's plan is more or less sorted what black's going to do. But what is white going to do now? Will white maybe put his rooks on the d and e file?
D and E definitely white wants to get his rook to e1. King b1 maybe a bit of a safe move over there. Not sure if it was completely necessary over there, but always useful, of course.
My thing is this: I think that for me the problem for me in this position is that what do I do with that bishop, that light squared bishop? Where am I going to put it? Okay, now maybe the c4 square might become available.
So the c5 square is available there for the knight. I don't know if black was intending a5 and bishop a6 or what. What is the idea? Is the knight is covering c5? Okay. And there the move d5 comes.
That is looking not too good for black.
I'm not sure if d5 is that wrecking though. I mean, what is white threatening with d5? Okay, e6 will become very loose. White really wants a pawn on rook on e1. e5, very interesting. Threatening e4 perhaps. I think black should be castling as well at some point. Black doesn't want to leave his king in the middle forever.
Well, okay, you can't really take that pawn on f5. I mean, it's not looking good.
Can't he take the pawn on f5?
I mean, if he
Why
takes
not?
it, isn't a discovered move, maybe?
Knight b6 or knight c5.
Yeah, maybe knight c5 after that, after capturing knight c5 and with a double attack.
The queen can't get back to protect the knight on a4. Queen c4 was played. So kind of sidestepping e4, checking out the c6 square, giving more space for the bishop also to come out.
I still think maybe that's b5 to b4. Do you think it's a bit premature? Maybe. I mean, black still has to worry a bit of safety of the king. On the other hand, I stand corrected with maybe playing bishop to a6.
Yes. Pawn to d6. Okay, so what's happening over here?
There's a lot of pressure now.
Okay, so pawn takes pawn. Rook takes pawn.
Oh, black can't play bishop a6 anymore. Okay, the castle gets in castling.
Maybe bishop
White
e2
still
and
has...
doubling up. Maybe just a simple bishop e2. G3 is also, nah, maybe not G3 because the diagonal could be weak. Bishop e2 is very simple, trying to get the rook from h1 into the game as well.
Yeah, doubling up on the d file. I think white's pieces are more or less well developed. Maybe knight. Yeah, knight moves back.
Okay, good square for the knight on e5, hitting the queen as well, opening up the bishop. The bishop could get to e6 as well. Another option for him. The bishops are covering the squares, not allowing the rooks to enter as well. So black is also fighting back here. The white has the open file, but what else does white have besides the open file?
I don't know. Was that okay? I don't know. Oh, bishop e6 is just slicing over on that diagonal, but queen swings to the other side. Maybe knight back.
King h8 perhaps? Why knight back? Why do we want to play back? Why not just king h8? Yes.
King h8. Oh yeah, knight means to go to c4. Maybe.
So knight f4, maybe knight h5. So the knight has a bit of distance to travel. So black does have the bishop pair. The bishop on g7 could be dangerous in the long run. This diagonal.
Maybe knight would be nicely placed on f4 maybe.
I don't know if I would have exchanged rooks like that if I was black. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's better than what I think because perhaps queen d2 is also a threat now. Maybe black is doing quite well. I think David is doing excellent here in this match.
I like David's bishops, I have to say. It's slicing over those diagonals nicely.
So the queen blocks queen d2. So white is intending to play knight f4 pretty soon. Queen d5 hitting a2 now. Oof. Now b3, and now we want to get onto the diagonal. Now we want to get onto the diagonal. We want the queen to stand where the knight is standing. Knight c6, and that's the idea.
To go into the diagonal with the
queen. And the knight can also jump to d4, by the way, and knight b5, knight c3, or knight a3 ideas. I think, okay, that's only a move there just to keep the queen out. Could be quite effective because pawn takes pawn, bishop takes, and then the queen can't get safely to the e5 square. So maybe black should just continue knight d4. Okay, bishop d4. I thought knight d4.
I don't think it was necessary for that move. I think maybe the knight would have been better because now it maybe gives white an opportunity maybe to play knight over there and queen and have some mate threats. That's a better defense.
He has to come back and stop the queen from entering.
Yeah, the knight belongs on d4.
There the knight gets there. I think David has a very nice position over here. Okay, but the bishop is stopping that. So what's going on here? Watu giving up his pawn structure just to alleviate. Oh my word! That's why. That's
a bit unfortunate.
That's why. Oh my goodness.
That's unfortunate. That's a bit.
Okay.
That's painful.
Whew. Could black avoid it? We're gonna have to get back and check it out. But let's go for the next game. So tough one there for David. Very tough. He played an excellent game, but Watu there under the time pressure. Managed to get a nice tactic in, sacrificing his pawn structure again. Just to set up a tactic. So Watu playing with the black pieces here against another Reti.
It's basically the repeat of the first game, more or less.
Definitely. So rook to e1. Interesting. And by the way, white has not developed bishop b2 yet. This is an interesting mix-up, because if black goes d4, then white is saying, I've got my rook on e1 anyway. I'll play bishop a3 with one go, so he stops that plan. And now e5. Perhaps that's the reason why white should play bishop b2. Perhaps because bishop b2 stops e5. Now we get into some hedgehog position. Which I kind of still like for white. If you like the hedgehog for black, then oof, d4. Okay, if this works, then white might have just have a nice
But
position.
that's a dream that Calvin for the bishops in this position opens up.
Yes, I think David is playing very non-compromising chess here.
I think
Okay, e4.
David has to push for the win in this game. He has to.
Knight d2, e4 will be hanging. And Watu can take on d4 though. Maybe we're gonna see some f5. Now black is perhaps has some ideas.
Does white capture maybe, or then maybe knight? But that d3 square can become a bit problematic.
White's bishop is nice on b2 though, very nice on b2. Black can think about playing knight b4 and knight d3 at some point.
Yeah, that d3 square there, black goes for it. It looks too juicy, that square.
Yes, so he's not interested in the pawn, recapturing the pawn right now on c5.
I think it makes sense that, I mean, he's got enough time to get that pawn, but that d3 square is a priority at the moment.
If he lands on d3, there's going to be issues. Knight d3 anyway, so knight d3 and rook e2 probably. Oh, okay, queen takes queen. And knight c2 picks up the exchange. The problem is white can't hold onto the c5 pawn. I mean, losing the exchange is not nice, but if you could have held onto the c5 pawn, then maybe it could have been fine. For instance, if white's pawn was on a3 and he could play b4 right now, then swapping off like that wouldn't be too horrible.
Yeah, the main thing is shouldn't have allowed knight b4 in the first place. So it just allowed too many threats.
Okay, so white now definitely needs to turn on the heat here while he still can, while he's ahead in development. If black can stabilize, this will be basically it for him.
Black still has a problem with that. Of course, the light squared bishop needs to find some employment. I think this would have been okay, Calvin. Imagine if white somehow had his light squared bishop out. And I think this would have not have been bad for white, considering the lead in development he has.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you could get, for instance, the bishop on c4, if you can get that bishop on the c4,
yeah, that would have been
something
lovely,
like this. But I mean,
he's getting some players. Somehow, maybe pawn was an a5 and bishop on c4.
David is still applying the pressure. That's a good sign for him to just keep Watu on the edge here with time.
Yeah, it's so important in this format, the initiative and time.
Yes.
It's so important that in
nice.
In bullet and blitz.
Nice move by Watu, by the way. So he's trying to initiate some exchanges. You don't want to just capture on e5 and bishop x e5 and white still has control of the open file. Rather swap off white's last rook.
I don't know. Does white really have an option here? Maybe should white?
Maybe rook c1.
We hit the bishop, rook c1. Yes, get something. Yes, yeah. Just keep the pieces on the board for a while longer. White still needs to get maybe bishop c1 in, maybe do something.
The problem
to
is
get the bishop.
black can't capture on e5 so easily because the bishop will hit the rook on b8 indirectly. Bishop a3 is a nice move, I guess. I think bishop a3 is a nice move, just gaining a tempo.
It's a very important tempo, that as well, because now where are you going to put the rook?
The rook doesn't want to leave the back rank. Probably.
Yeah, and it has to go needs to go to a very inferior square. Maybe now having to put it on e1 or b1, which is not ideal for the white rook.
Yeah, I think the initiative is lost here.
That's why I'm saying maybe before he had to maybe capture there, because I mean after the bishop there, it's not saying that move was winning, but or better, but I mean.
Couldn't he have played knight takes c6 over there?
No, you see the back rank was also weak for that move. If he tries it out.
Yeah, but the rook was still covering d1.
Sure,
so. What's going on here?
Ah.
Okay, so white is still a piece down now. He was an exchange down, now he's a piece down.
Now he's a piece down. Now it's. It only has one pawn for it. I mean, it's a full piece. Finally, the bishop. Oh, the bishop doesn't even get to c4.
Yeah, so
I was thinking if maybe hopefully the bishop was at least going to get to c4.
c4, yes, is the dream square. So yeah, it's all about just converting now for Watu.
Is that another piece? We see no bishop can maybe just get an exchange. Oh no!
Check and he picks up another
That's
piece.
another piece. Yeah. No, he has to resign there.
Okay.
I still think White had a good opening. I mean.
So that's our second 5-minute game done, right? That was our second one. Am I correct, Lance?
This is the second.
No, this is the third game.
Third game, yeah. Let me just check here.
Of the 5 minutes and 1 second increment.
Yeah. And
so we've switched around.
No, I'm saying four games have been played now, right? So there's 2-2.
That's correct. That's correct. So it's 2 rapids done and 2 5-minute games done as well.
5-minute games.
That's correct. So just to remind everybody, Watu is playing with the white pieces right now, and then David is playing with the black pieces. David's handle name is Lee Paul Amy, and Watu's handle name is Mapungubwe. And then the current score after the rapids, Watu had the lead of 3-1, and Watu has won the first 2 5-minute 1 second increment games as well. So Watu's got a nice lead. He's currently standing on 5 points, and David is on 1 point. So the score is 5-1 right now. And something interesting happening here. What is happening? Is this what do you call it? It looks almost like a Grunfeld, but the knight is still on b1. They were thrusting with f5 in the center, attacking the central pawns. Can we just take I just want to see something here. d4, 96.
And the knight is going for e6.
Ah, okay, I see now. Knight to g5, so there's obvious light square weaknesses. The knight hinting at e6. So black has created some weaknesses for himself over here. For instance, the knight can't even develop easily over there because the knight will jump in and fork both those guys. Or guy and lady. But
Just amazing actually how quickly white got his pieces there now. I mean, going to e6 in this position.
yeah, white is very comfortable here. White can even just castle next as well.
Yeah.
There's no rush really to do anything. Castle, bishop e3 perhaps. Bishop e3 also looks nice. Just keeping an eye on that c5 pawn. Because the knight on a6 then doesn't want to move. So
still trying to figure out what is black's plan really. I mean, while black's knights are on the side of the board, but I don't see them doing anything on that side.
So there's a question here, why didn't black capture on c3 check instead of knight a6? I guess it's an option to win the d5 pawn. I'm not sure if winning the d5 pawn is that great of a swap to give up your nice dark squared bishop.
Especially that weakened king. I mean, there would be a lot of holes in that king side.
I doubt it would be good in the long run, even with the exchange of queens possibly, because then white's dark squared bishop will cause lots of problems. But maybe something black could have considered. But by first glance, I don't think black wants to give up this bishop for the knight, even at the idea of winning a pawn. So bishop d4, f2 is hanging.
I think he has to maybe castle now.
There's nothing wrong with castling, or what? What's going to happen after castling? What's black? Is black planning bishop c5? Where's the queen going?
Oh, that is an interesting turn of events.
Maybe queen a5.
Going for the queen.
Maybe queen a5, bishop b4. Queen has to run this way, bishop d7. So white captures the pawn in order to stop bishop c5.
Good. Black will probably continue with bishop f5 maybe.
Maybe king h8. Oh, bishop f5 you say. Yeah, bishop f5 also looks logical. I was thinking about king h8 just to perhaps try to take on d5. Bishop f5, okay. Probably the most logical move.
I mean, still trying to get that little tactic in there maybe, and also developing at the same time. I mean, that knight is also not badly placed on e4.
Yes, but I don't think we're discouraging the knight at the moment. The knight's still comfortable.
Yeah. There, the nice bishop goes in there.
Rook to e8, I guess was a difficult decision. Or maybe not so difficult. Rook f7 probably would have some knight g5 eventually, causing more problems. And typical Watu, he decides to long castle, my word.
But isn't the bishop hanging? Oh, bishop's gone.
No. And just as he long castled his opponent, donates a piece.
That was a bit, maybe...
I was looking at some g4 ideas. Okay, so black decides to continue. Maybe his opponent can also blunder something.
Well, it's 2 minutes. Anything can still happen, but I think white should have this one in the bag as well.
Oi!
That is...
okay, so that's game number 3. So I think we've got one last one in the 5 minutes to go. Let's view the rematch. So Watu dominating here in the 5 minutes, 1 second portion.
But I still have to say,
Let's
I
flip
like
it around.
the opening of white here so far. So far, the openings have been fine. It's just converting from the middle game onwards. That's the thing.
In fact, did I maybe flip it around too early? Should I? I think I need to do it on even numbers. Apologies. Let's flip it around again.
Are you flipping it?
Yes, I'm flipping it. So tough loss there for David. He's losing a bit of grip here. I think David can't afford to drop anything anymore. Otherwise, the match will be decided. Okay, so what do we have here? Some reversed King's Indian attack? Some King's Indian type of structure.
So, Calvin, do you like these symmetrical pawn structures, like you when playing? I mean, if you're playing white, you against your opponents, or
I don't really
does it
like. I don't really like exact symmetry. It tends to be a bit boring, but I mean, this type of position is not exactly the same. I know it can potentially be exactly the same pawn structure wise, but white does have this typical King's Indian position where the pawn on c3 is covering the d4 square quite nicely, and the rook will probably go to e1. Sometimes the knight can go to f1 and e3 and maneuver to these squares. It's typical King's Indian type of ideas. And I kind of prefer white structure here. But okay, black also has his ideas. Yeah, this bishop on g2 sometimes goes back to f1, just trying to be more active. So considering all of that, perhaps this bishop on b6 is quite a nice piece in the symmetry.
This is, I think, black's best piece here at the moment. So maybe white will try and exchange maybe the piece if possible, and there white goes for it.
So actually, if we come to think about it, with this maneuver that white did, or that black did, kind of looks like a reversed perk. So that's what it looks like. Seen that maneuver that white plays with queen b1 and queen a2, trying to put pressure on f7. So yeah, oof, knight takes e4. The bishop, the knight on b3 is hanging. So white
exchanging happening.
White does a desperado move. He's gonna lose the knight anyway,
great.
so he figures, okay, let's grab a pawn in the meantime.
Well, does he have to take? Because I mean,
threatening knight takes c6.
Knight takes c6 might be a bit more potent, so maybe you have to capture that. Let's just calculate quickly.
Not bad. So Watu coming up with a tactic and David countering with a tactic.
I think Watu maybe overlooked this one. I mean, it's basically just exchanging, I think. Can white develop an initiative out of it? Wow.
The rook takes.
And he has to be taken.
Maybe queen takes a5. I don't think he wants to allow knight takes c6, so I guess he needs to play queen takes a5 or knight takes a5 or something. Ooh, okay. Knight takes g3 and the rook is hanging. So knight takes c6, pawn takes, rook takes e5 perhaps. Knight will drop back. But knight doesn't need to drop back immediately. because of the spin. I don't know why I'm thinking rook takes when knight takes is much better.
And everything's clears. I think white is maybe not too bad.
I don't know. I think this complications
It
actually
is fine.
favored. It seems to have favored white, definitely on the queen side.
Because I mean, if the queen is away from the action,
I don't like rook f3. I didn't like rook f3. But maybe it's still fine for white here. Oi, is h3 hanging? The light squares are very weak around the white king.
maybe trying to get that queen around to e4. Yes, develop something on the king side, generating a nice attack.
Oi,
Oh,
queen.
I did not see that one as well.
No, rook takes g7 check, nothing. Rook takes g7 check, queen g4 check.
Maybe can we do something there? Maybe is it possible to save the game with some perpetual move?
Yeah, I think white is close to busted. Probably is busted right now. White would love to get this knight d7 move in.
Oh well, you might as well go for that, but I don't know if you calculate thoroughly. Can you get something out of it?
Maybe queen h4, queen f4.
You just get the exchange back. No, this rook. No, you can't. Then queen is being attacked.
Just move the queen. Just move the queen somewhere for black. Queen d6, perhaps just covering the dark squares. Or initiating a exchange. That even looks better. So at the end of the day, I think white will just be a piece down. That's a nice move, just forcing the exchange, I guess. Queen takes queen. And rook takes knight afterwards, and black is in business.
Pushing the pawns maybe up there, but I mean, it's not sufficient. The bishop and rook can cover that pawns on the queen side.
Okay, so what's happening over here? Yeah, white, maybe just playing on a bit longer, but I think this is basically over here for white. He's got this poor pass pawn threatening to push on, but as long as the bishop's on the diagonal, it's okay. So black still needs to do a few things. He needs to somehow activate everybody. So maybe David has something here to just to nag Watu with, and Watu only has 33 seconds left. Maybe that's the big reason why. Okay, Watu's king is coming around here to collect the pawn. As soon as the pawn drops, it's over. And nice maneuver, nice toing and throwing here by David, because he wants to get that f6 pawn. It's just gonna be a draw.
I think Watu maybe saying it's okay for Watu to just squeeze the draw, maybe.
And in fact, I'm not sure if the players are aware of this. And Watu, and there's a draw. Okay. Okay, let's chat to the guys. Okay, if you can just unmute your mics, guys. Yeah. All right, so interesting draw there at the end. Maybe David got away there, but David always being tough, forcing you to convert. So let's see what's the scores, guys. I think Watu, are you aware of the score? Say again. 6-1. I just want to. 6-1.5. What? 6.5. Wait a second. 1, 2. Yeah. So my score here. 5.5. 5.5. 1.5. Right. 3, 4, 5. No. So you scored 3 points in the rapid, and you scored three wins now and a draw. Correct? Yeah. So you are currently standing on 6.5, and David, you on 1.5. So technically, what you have already clinched the match. No, wait a second. I won 1 rapid, that's 2, right? Yes, and you drew 1. That's 3. Oh, 3. Yes, that's 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6.5. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So a tough one there for you, David. You've got 1.5 points, considering the rapid portion as well. And Watu, you've got 6.5. So Watu, you have clinched the match thus far with 4 points up for grabs. David cannot catch up anymore. So now it's just 4 games left of the 3 minutes and 1 second increment. So yeah, you guys, how are you guys feeling? Would you like to continue, or you want to take the break? I'd like to have a toilet break, maybe 2 minutes. Okay. All right. I'll give you a couple of minutes, and then yeah, I'll phone you guys back soon. Okay. All right. Cheers. Okay, so there you have it, guys. So Watu clinching the match qualification spot already, and I'm sure that will make him very happy. So Lance, what's your thoughts on things?
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for David in this game. I mean, dropping pieces in critical positions. Yeah, so yeah, but well played to Watu. I mean, Watu held his nerve. He played really well. And I think yeah, Watu deserved it. I mean, he played a selection of openings, was okay. He played good lines, and he was clinical as well.
Aha. So yeah, no, all credit to Watu. David, I must say, definitely gave him a bit of a scare here and there. I think if David didn't blunder a piece here and there, he could have actually made it a very closer encounter.
Yes, I think quite in a few games, I think David had better positions. I think if he just held his nerve a bit better, and then I think he could have easily won 2 of them.
Yeah, so let's just quickly show the viewers the score here. We've got the current score after the 5 minutes and 1 second increment portion of the match. Watu is leading with 6.5 against 1.5, and thus has basically qualified for the finals. So Watu goes through to the final, having 6.5 points, and with 4 games to go, with 1 point for each win, David can unfortunately not catch up to stop him from going through. So it seems like David is going to have to just prove a point in the 3.1. I think if David just maybe keeps it together and not spoil it with a blunder here and there, I think it can be very tight with the final small portion. Coming back to our studio. So yeah, so Lance, you say that Watu has been quite convincing thus far. I think displaying some technical ability, like I mentioned before. Watu does prefer the tactics and so on, but with some of these end games, he's also shown quite a bit of technique. So yeah, I think Watu has been very convincing thus far. I mean, in the 5 minutes and 1 second increment portion out of the 4 games, he dropped half a point. So 3.5 from the 4 points he could have scored, and then in the Rapid also dropping a half a point a game, scoring 3 out of 4 possible points as well. So a very dominating display by Watu thus far in this event. He has not lost a single game yet. Watu has not lost a single game yet, and he has conceded 2 draws in this match alone. So 4 more games to go in the 3.1, and yes, that you all know what that means. The finals is going to be a big encounter. It's going to be an encounter that we've seen many times in the outdoor situation. So Watu is joining Henry Steele, International Master Mohammed Henry Steele, in the finals tomorrow. Just to remind you guys, the finals has been scheduled for 7 p.m., 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. So it's bound to be great. It gives everybody a bit of time to rest. The players can rest a bit. And please open up your schedule. You can do all you need to do during the day. Just make sure that you are available for this match, 7 p.m. And the matches usually last around 2 to 2.5 hours. So yeah, we're gonna phone up the players very soon. And yeah, by the way, if you haven't follow me on Calvin Klaasen, twitch.tv/Calvin Klaasen Chess. If you're looking for online coaching, email me this side, Calvin Klaasen at yahoo.com. And like I mentioned in the previous streams as well, this channel of mine is not just for tournaments. In fact, this is my first tournament I'm hosting. What I usually do on the stream is I play Blitz and Rapid, and I analyze and dissect my own games while doing so. So that's usually the very nice, entertaining, relaxed session that I have, and I do that on a weekly basis. A couple of times I would play Blitz and Rapid. And then what I've also started doing is the puzzles, solving puzzles, and also one of my favorite things to do is the puzzle rush. If you haven't tried out the puzzle rush on chess.com, try it out. It's very nice. It is actually a rush if you're a chess player, so that's also cool that I've been doing. And last week I've also done a simultaneous exhibition playing 14 players at the same time, and I will be doing something similar next week as well. And yeah, you guys should also look out. I'm going to have more special guests on my stream showing their games, doing some lectures, and of course that's the other special thing that I've done as well. I started my lecture series on how to beat a grandmaster. I started with part 1, where I showed one of my games that I beat a grandmaster, also dissecting the game and really looking at what I was thinking, what my grandmaster opponent was thinking, and how the game went. So there will be more of that as well in the future, and like I said, I'll have more special guests also possibly doing showing their games. I think I've got a special guest next week lined up, so it should be very, very nice. So let's check on our players. So we've got the 3.1 left. Lance, do you have anything to say over there before we get going?
Not much, Calvin. I am just looking forward to the last few games in terms to see actually will Paul come back. I think he deserves to win at least another 2 games. I think he's just a bit unlucky as well. But and this is no such thing really as they say. What do they say about luck?
You create your own luck.
Exactly, and fortune favors the bold. And I mean, Watu has been superb in this game, this matchup.
And by the way, what do you think about the finals? What do you think about the finals that's going to happen tomorrow?
You know what? It's gonna, as I said, it's gonna be a fantastic. It's gonna be a cracker. I'm so excited to see Henry going at Watu in this matchup. I mean, anyone can take it.
Can I maybe dare to ask you for a prediction while the players are not here?
Man, I don't like to be put on. It's difficult, man. But if you had to put a gun to my head, I will say the best player on the day will win.
that's you're chickening out over there, but okay, I'm not gonna say anything myself, so that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, both guys. I think they anyone can take it. I like both of them. They play. I mean, Henry can. I mean, he's such a fantastic player. Watu was also nice in action. I don't know, Calvin. May I ask you, who do you think?
I'm definitely not going to reveal my thoughts right now on the matter. All that I can say is it's going to be a tight affair. It's two of South Africa's best. I mean, both guys with so much talent. Henry being slightly younger, but Henry also from a young age displaying his strength. So okay, I've got the players here ready. So let's just get back to the players. I'm phoning Watu right now. So yeah, we can talk a bit about that match a bit later after the show. But let's just get the players back. Hi Watu, are you ready? Okay, let's get David on the line. So we're just getting David quickly. Okay, right, David, are you ready? Okay, so now let's see what we can do in the 3.1 portion. I'd love to see who's going to win this section of the match. So good luck to the both of you. And yeah, let's get going as soon as you're ready. Watu, can you do that challenge for us again? Alright, as soon as you guys are all set up, then I will mute my mic as well.
3+1, right?
Yes, 3 minutes, 1 second increment. So Lance, what time control do you prefer? If you had to pick between these three, what would you choose? 3.1, 5.1, or 10 straight?
I don't know. I'd probably take the 3.1. I like Blitz, so I would probably play at 3.1 and see how it goes.
Okay, so I think the players have started already, so I'm going to just get to there. Okay, good luck to everybody. I'm muting my mic. And here we go. So what do we have here? Watu playing King's Indian. Is David gonna go for D4? Is he gonna he goes D4. So this is quite topical stuff that we have here. I've had my battles with Watu as well in these type of structures. So something that he really loves to play for black, the King's Indian. David also loves to play solid there, and G3 is definitely one of the more solid lines against the King's Indian. Queen B6, very topical. C5 is one of the most critical lines here. After capture, and then white will capture over there. It's a type of a pawn sack, and you have to know your stuff over there. And David decides to not go into that theoretical battle and just push onwards. I think there was a famous game of Mikhail Tal where this more or less happened, and Tal played on both sides of the board. Yeah, I kind of like this opening. This is there's something I want to see. What's your thoughts, Lance?
I actually also prefer. I'm myself of a King's Indian player, so I like looking at King's Indian games. Yeah, Queen B6. I don't so much like playing this line, but it's okay.
I think Queen B6. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's the Smyslov variation in this G3 variation of the King's Indian. Yeah, scariest name. I'm going to have to be more reserved on that topic. I feel like I cannot, as the producer of the show, reveal my prediction right now. I have to be neutral. But perhaps what I can do is, sure, it's gonna be tough. Yeah, I don't think I will be able to reveal
Okay,
my
what
my
I would
thoughts.
do, Kelvin, if I have to answer there, I would reveal mine, but
Okay, so
I
what's
mean,
your
maybe you
idea?
can ask people afterwards. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So let's get back to the game for now. We can ask you as well. I'd like to know what your thoughts are, but let's just quickly check what's happening here.
You see, Kelvin, the thing about this position is now the queen on b6. I mean,
Queen on b6 is
bishop,
slightly awkward with the bishop on e3, but
yeah,
on e3, but the queen sometimes can be effective. But that's why Watu played rook f8. I guess he can play queen d8 back as well. And taking on d5, sometimes white has this idea of going knight d2 and knight c4.
and there the queen goes back. I just feel like it's a bit counterintuitive. Black going on the queen side like this. Normally in King's Indian setups, you play on the king side, and
Yes,
this type of setup, I mean, it's a bit unusual.
it's a bit unusual. Yes, you do get some setups where black does play on the queen side eventually. So
Yeah,
I have seen this in the g3 setups. So specifically because this g3 setup with the bishop on g2 makes it really difficult for black to mate white. So sometimes they do
yeah,
switch over to the queen side. Even in some you have these h3 lines. It's like a modern Averbach and the old Averbach lines as well, where white tries to block everything up on the king side and then black switches over to the queen side. So it's not impossible, but yeah.
mm,
And but what is showing is flexibility here. Knight h5, perhaps hinting at f5, playing on both sides. Scariest name, perhaps I'll do that. I'll keep that in mind. But yes, let's see. The b5 square is a nice square for white. b6 is hanging. Bishop f8, not the move that black really wants to play.
well, I don't know. Could white maybe try? Okay, you can't dislodge the knight.
Oh, I don't like g4. No ways. I
That's
don't like
not
g4.
looking good.
Yeah, I don't like what white did there. I thought white could just maybe play knight d2 straight away instead of g4. But okay, we should also consider the time issues here. White is on 46 seconds, black is on 50. So black's bishop does look slightly better than white's bishop right now. So who would you want to face in the final stylistically? So I'm not sure if I get your scariest name. Who would I like to face in the final? Just a moment, Lance. I'll be with you in 10 seconds.
No, that's fine. I mean, at the moment, it's a bit difficult to defend the pawn on f3 anyway, but pawn on on d5 can become quite an asset in this position. Still need to figure out if it's a weakness or an asset.
So what's happening here that black managed to swap off his bishop for the knight? F3 pawn is dropping. D5 pawn also dropping. That bishop could potentially be really bad for white, eh? But it's active. It's active now. And after king g7, maybe g5.
c3 and then king up the
Okay,
board.
okay. Now David has gotten himself into a very active position. White needs to play g5. if you can. Okay, David is in a very comfortable position, perhaps buckling under the time pressure there. But Basic still hanging.
Yeah, White has
Ah,
got more
nice,
space.
nice,
White
nice,
should
nice.
try something here, but it's still equal.
Yes, yes. I don't know, no. White is definitely better here with that rook.
Yeah, definitely now, definitely now.
King F5. King F5.
Capture and then check. Missed that one.
Okay, so things fizzling out here for White.
Okay, a bit of.
So, scariest name are you presuming if I play in a final? Or if you had to pick an opponent to face based on the style you like to play against. So if I were in a final, which opponent would I pick? Is that what you're asking? Okay, so the first game, a draw. Tight one. David, as shown in the previous matches, in his previous match, that he's quite capable with the time management. All right, scariest name. I'll get back to you just now. So what's happening here? Watu playing d4. So we're seeing a Grunfeld, Knight e2 variation in Bishop c4. This is the stuff we saw in another Kasparov world title match against Karpov. After castling, then Bishop g4. What variation do they call that again? Okay, so they don't go for that. Trying to think. Between the two, if I had to play someone, I'm not sure. Henry has been out of the scene for quite a long time. Just preferring how their styles. I don't know. I like playing against Watu. I'll probably choose Watu because Watu tends to put the fire on, put the heat on without you asking. So sometimes it's very strong, but sometimes it can also backfire. So but it's a close call. I mean, both in a Henry style, it's difficult to pin Henry down on his style. Maybe a bit more universal, and Henry also likes to surprise you in the opening. So it's a bit difficult to say now that Henry is not playing that much. But I think if I had to pick, I'll probably pick Watu. Maybe because I've just played him more. I'm sure both would have been fun.
It's amazing. So far, Calvin, in this match, we've seen a lot of openings here. I mean, if you look at the other matches, I don't know. I think we've seen a bit more from the matches here so far. We've seen a few Grunfelds. I mean, we had Reti. We've had, of course, King's Indian from Watu side. So
yes, no, quite a variety of
yeah,
openings that's come from this match. A couple of French games as well. So I mean, lots of different openings we've seen here. Two players showing their experience. So shouldn't Black be aiming maybe for an f5 here? Okay, Black is also maneuvering the knight to d6.
and White is going for it on the King's side. But I don't know. Is it okay to play that move?
Oof,
No.
I kind of like Black here, but maybe White is seeing something. I kind
It's
of
very
like Black over here.
aggressive, that move,
f5. Let's go. Let's get it on. Let's go for f5. f5 takes and then bishop h6. Maybe I'm asking for too much.
Yeah,
Maybe
you want this board to be on fire here, eh?
maybe I'm asking for hey, and there we have f5. There we go.
Ah,
Takes bishop h6, perhaps threatening mate.
ah,
So here we go.
guys are
Bishop
going
takes.
for it.
Bishop takes. Oh, knight takes even as well.
Knight takes. I think knight takes.
Anything looks good here, I
Or
believe.
maybe we had to capture. Yeah, of course, with a knight would be quite lovely.
So both players are on about 1 minute and 40 seconds around there. Yes, Gary's name. Yes, the variation is a Seville variation. Not sure how the Spanish pronounces it. If it's from Spain, Seville. So very weird play here. White's pieces all at the back. Yeah, I think I'm definitely picking black in this position. Let's see if David can keep it together and perhaps score a victory.
And I actually like the bishop even on d3 in a way. It's kind of keeping the white's bishop at bay by it being there. You know what I mean? It just takes out one of white's main attacking pieces.
Of course, perhaps you could even play e4 and solidify it even more. But what's the queen doing on g4? Maybe threatening rook g1? I don't know. I don't have a clue what's going on here.
There's no real threat in this position. I think. I mean,
maybe if black can get this other rook on f8 now, that could be quite a nice looking position. If white maybe maneuver the king towards the white king is gonna have problems for a long time.
Maybe white will just try to just get the. It would be nice if black can somehow get the other rook on f8 as well. Or maybe there's no need for that.
Pressure on the pawn. Knight is lurking around. So white wants black to decide what's happening with that bishop on d3. Queen takes d5. Is that a possibility? Knight g5 also looks nice. Oh yes, knight g5 is a good move. Perhaps e4 next and knight f3 is a problem. Can white afford to give up his dogs with bishop? It doesn't seem that way. Pawn to e4 looks good. My word, is that not just a blunder? Oh no. Oh no.
That was a bit unfortunate.
Oh no, David again dropping a piece over there in such a lovely position. The match is a long one, guys. You must have stamina, and seems like at the closer to the end of David's time in each game, he's been slipping up a bit. So just blundering a piece over there, playing e4 instead of blundering the piece was gonna be much better. And he's still his position is so nice. He blundered a piece and he's still threatening
he's
stuff.
still in a good position. I mean, his position is still playable, but
rook to g8 perhaps. Rook to g8.
yeah,
the queen needs to defend e2. If knight takes d4, queen takes c3 check. Or the bishop was hanging on b1, by the way. So he's still in it. He's actually he's way back. He's way back. Did he get his piece back?
Did he get play pawn? Maybe pawn
yes. He's completely winning now. Just capture.
Wow, it's back.
And take
this
back.
Is nice.
And David finally.
David is surely winning this one. This is good. I think Watu should resign now. So he can't stop the mate.
So finally, someone gets a point off Watu, a 4 point. So that's game number 2 in this 3 minutes, right? David's showing already in the first game that he can play in this time control. And first game that Watu loses in this tournament. And we should flip the board around now, I think. David playing one of his favorite variations, the bishop b5 check. One, I think you call it the Moscow variation. And white preferring to keep his bishop, playing bishop f1. I like that. Black, probably black. I like black setup as well, going for bishop b7 and maybe e6 or g6. Black has a lot of options here. Okay, and we're back into a type of an open Sicilian looking like position. And black is playing a very cool dragon, a double fianchetto. White is playing a solid setup. scariest name. We do have our technical things we need to sort out. Zoom doesn't allow us to have long calls with multiple participants. So we can perhaps look at that in the future. So queen c7, king h1. White not revealing much here. He's got a small grip on the queen side with a4 and the two bishops eyeing the queen side. Black going on with traditional dragon-like ideas, wanting to jump in on c4. Key square usually in these dragon setups. The bishop on g7 also potentially dangerous, breathing fire down that diagonal, that a1 h8 diagonal. And this is our second last game of the match. Watu has already won the match, but when it comes to the 3 minutes and 1 second increment portion, David is actually leading this mini match with 1.5 half. So let's see what David can do with the last 2 games.
What is White's plan here? I mean, the knight could, I don't know, would I want to exchange the knight maybe somehow? Is a pawn being dropped there? No, not really. He's gonna get it back on the c file or not.
So he neutralizes that instead. So if bishop takes b6, like you were thinking, then knight takes, queen takes, and then bishop takes c3 perhaps. And then after capturing back on c3, black will just maybe play a rook b8 or something, and then the pawns, the double pawns would drop. White can't afford that damage to his structure.
There's White. Should White capture us in this position? If you capture, and then b2 pawn becomes a target.
Yes.
Black will probably try to trade bishop c7 maybe and get the rook on the b file if he has enough time in this position.
Just a reminder that David is playing with the white pieces and Watu is playing with the black pieces here. And there we start with, there we see black eyeing the b2 pawn. If pawn to b3, then it seems like black has a nice move of c4, and then that's gonna dislodge the whole structure. So white now probably has to. Okay, so it goes.
He has to capture there.
95.
Queen takes and capture, and putting no, but then if taking with a pawn, then
bishop takes knight and then pawn takes.
I think you should capture, yeah, not.
Bishop takes knight and pawn takes would have been fine for white.
Yeah.
So perhaps a5 afterwards. That's what white has in mind. The knight is going to be difficult to dislodge.
Oh no, that knight is lovely. It's very difficult to get rid of it. Yeah.
$43 seconds each. 1 second increment. So black trying to gain some space on the queen side. h5, h4, h3, just to weaken the diagonal. Maybe g5 next, and then you can even try to kind of touch on that pawn structure with f3 and e4. Oh, f5, and now he's applying. Beautiful maneuvering here. What to even bringing the king closer to to the queen side to try and keep things together. But the white rooks also look nice. Rook c7 perhaps, doing anything? Rook c8 being a threat. Does white want to swap off all the rooks? After check, black can probably play king f7 as well.
Yeah, and I think
So
black might go for that. I mean, maybe taking the rook on the b rook, maybe.
white probably.
And then,
yeah, white is doing okay here. Rook c7 is a threat. Rook c8 perhaps, yes. David doing an excellent job here again. d6 is hanging. D6 is hanging.
Difficult to defend that pawn. I mean,
and then rook can go to d2 and defend. Rook to
should have
d2
gone
and
back to
defend.
defend. Yeah. Okay. Could he...
Oh no, and then h2 is gonna happen. h2 is gonna happen. And looks like Watu is gonna equalize here. What is gonna equalize on the 3-minute 1-second increment?
I think it's over.
Match. Okay, last game. One more to go. One more to go, guys. Good luck. The score in the 3-minute 1-second increment mini match is 1.5 each. Let's see who's gonna clinch the mini match of the 3.1. Okay, let's view the rematch over there. So we see an Alakine's defense, another favorite of David, and Watu pushing all of his pawns, chasing that knight to the distance. And this is a direct attempt in refuting the line. So let's see. Sure, this is getting messy very early.
Violent lines.
This is getting messy very early. So sure. So was that check necessary? I mean, did he not maybe just give white more time to develop? Thanks, Curious Name. We'll take that into account. Thank you very much. So what is up here? Which side is white gonna castle? I think it's probably safer just to short castle. White is already looking good.
Maybe try knight to e2 maybe, and normally.
Yes, and what would black's plan be? What's black's plan gonna be?
I mean, black can't really even play the normal g6 setup in this position because queen and bishop's already eyeing the king.
So we've got a threat there, knight to d3 check. We've got a threat over there. b2 is also, b7 is also hanging. But typical of Watu here, again going long way with castling. Black needs to develop still. This bishop on f8, stopping the king from getting safe.
Also, the pawn is also hanging on b7.
Yes.
Black should also worry about that. Black sacrificing it, huh?
I guess he doesn't have too much time to do otherwise.
I mean, you
Bishop
can
check.
check maybe
Bishop check.
first, but I mean the bishop or knight can just drop back. Knight has to go back. But I mean, it's not ideal. They wouldn't really have a choice there. Then maybe capture and then just castle, develop your pieces. Okay, white is thinking a bishop is quite nice. There's no need for that. Oh, guy's just ignoring it.
Yeah, I don't think black has much choice. He has to go for it.
Black is going to maybe try and just get the queen somehow to a5 and just see if he can create something in the position, but I don't know if it's good sound.
So this is the last game of the match, and g5 black really trying everything over here to disrupt matches here. Yeah,
but
but it
also
doesn't. I think
opening up another weakness.
I think the whole opening didn't go exactly according to plan. Rook takes g5 and rook takes g7 is even a possibility now. Let's see rook takes g7. Yes, rook takes g7 on the board. King takes and then rook g1 check.
Wow.
Oh, e6. Okay, and queen takes d6 is not possible because of knight f5 getting the queen.
So devastating pawns. And then fork on e7 if need be. Oh, it doesn't even go for that. White wants more.
So the pawns are marching on. So credit to David for actually just playing on and still fighting. Not just in this game, but in the match itself as well. So finally, the resignation is there and the match is done. So Watu Kobese will take this one. Let's have a quick chat with the players. Hi guys, can you unmute your mics, please? Oh, okay. First of all, congratulations on your victory. So you qualify for, and you will you qualify to the finals, which will take place tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. And tough one, David. You had a couple of good positions where we felt like you just threw it away in one move, where you blundered a piece. I think the one game where Watu didn't castle at all. You had some I think it was a Grunfeld like structure. Yes, so it was I think you had lots of chances there, and yeah, so a couple of blunders that kind of completely took you off track. There could have been a slightly tighter. But any thoughts from you guys? I don't know, whoever wants to start. Maybe David. David, can you maybe say a few words about the match?
Yeah, no, I thought it was an interesting match. Yeah, I missed out one or two one-move blunders. Got some good chances in some of the games, particularly with that. And yeah, but well done to Watu. He's a bit sharper when it comes to some of the tactics. So maybe I wasn't focused enough. But I thought it was quite a rich game on the whole.
Yes, definitely. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and once again, I feel I have to congratulate you as well for actually getting a victory from Watu. Watu hasn't conceded any losses yet until this evening, so well done to you as well. Watu,
in the final game, if I play G1 instead of last move Queen A5, it's still double-edged.
In this final game.
maybe.
Okay. Okay, all right. We'll check it out just now. And what's your thoughts on the match?
But maybe I can just go back, David, with like Bishop B3 or something like this. Maybe. Yeah, but it's not. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
My point's only 7.
Okay. All right. And what's your thoughts on the match?
Look, I always knew that it was going to be a tough match. Because David plays very, very solidly, and it's a question. The question is, it's always a decision you have to make. Do you sit and defend the slightly worse position, or do you play for more? But okay, I mean, at first I saw this, but then afterwards I realized that maybe he's not as sharp in tactics. So I kind of changed my strategy and I played much sharper positions. I mean, for example, not castling. I was trying to sort of, get more tactical positions.
Yes.
And I saw he was sort of a little bit more unsure in tactics. So, but it was a very nice match. I think that the quality of the games was actually quite good, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think it was a very nice game. The score doesn't reflect the match, of course. He was blundering in blitz phases, but I think the match was very tight.
Yes, a tight struggle, yes. Okay, thank you guys. So congratulations to both of you. Well done, Watu, for qualifying to the finals. So we'll stay in touch, and thank you very much for entertaining us this evening.
Tough luck, David. Good luck tomorrow.
All right, cheers everybody. Cheers.
All right.
Okay, there we have it. Let's just quickly run over to the scoreboard. So there we have it, guys. Watu clinching the match 9-3, and David actually taking some points off Watu over there, and a bit more tough for Watu this time around. The previous match he won full score, and I think it's only gonna get tougher for Watu from now on. He will be facing his toughest competition in the finals. So I also agree with the players. The struggle was a bit more tough than the results reflect, because David on the other hand blundered in some very good positions. So, but David did show that he can handle the time, as in the previous matches that he played. He's not too bad on the clock, so that also put Watu under more pressure. Coming back to the studio, Lance, what's your thoughts on the match?
I think it was for me it was a very exciting game. As I said from the start, how it's going to turn out. At the end of the day, Watu played for positions that favored his style, and it paid off for him. For me, David was just a bit unlucky in some positions as well. He just couldn't find those critical moves in the positions, making some calculating errors and that mistakes. So at the end of the day, I think Watu deserved. I mean, he basically also in the first few games, Watu played himself into specific positions. He first got used to how David was playing, and then after it was just a bit easier for him here towards the end just to finish the match off.
I get you. I fully understand you there, and I agree as well. And so yes, there we have it, guys. So today, day 3 of Calvin Klaasen Chess Invitational is at an end. We've seen some interesting matches. We've seen some dominance being displayed as well. And now all that's left is the big one, the final, that is tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. We will release an ad for that as well, just to make sure everybody knows about that. But yes, I think all the matches have been exciting. Thank you very much to Lance van Vogel. Lance, thank you for joining us. Thanks for lending us your expertise. And I know Lance for a long time. He also comes from the Eastern Province like myself, and I've been battling it out with Lance as well for many years. So yes. So now all that's left is the final, like I said, and what a final it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the matter, everybody out there. So send me those messages and follow me on twitch.tv/Calvin Klaassen Chess, and mail me as well if you're interested in anything else or want to know a bit more about the show at calvinklaassen@yahoo.com. Have a nice evening. I hope you enjoyed the show. Cheers, Lance. Cheers to everybody out there.
Yes,
Enjoy your
Calvin.
evening and see you tomorrow evening for the finals.
Cheers.